But did you get in fights off the court as well at that time?
I've never gotten in a fight off the court in the NBA. While I was playing
I mean,
professionally.
let's say that game ends, you go to a bar, someone steps on you.
I've
and
never
shoves
gotten
you.
into a fight
No?
while I was playing in the NBA off the court.
Really? Okay, so this was mostly only during the games that we saw this sort of aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
Huh. I've heard you say you were intimidated.
Yeah, I've never gotten in a fight off the court in the NBA.
No. Okay, interesting.
I haven't gotten in a fight since high school. Not even high school, like a real.
Huh.
Besides, like, on the court.
Yeah.
Real aggressive. But I haven't gotten into a fight off the court like at all.
You started off as Ron Artest, right? You changed your name to Metta World Peace in 2011. Now Metta Sandiford-Artest in 2020. So why the change to World Peace of all things?
It took a while.
Yeah.
Right? So I always tell people when Chad Johnson changed his name, I thought that was cool. And when you're playing sports, you always need something to activate you, so it's not the same old routine. I said, I'm gonna change my name too. So in 2000, I think 7 or 8, I was gonna change it to So Hood. Then I was gonna change it to Queensbridge.
Hood?
Yeah, like
man.
from the ghetto, from the streets.
Dang.
So I was gonna change it to So Hood. And then when I every year I kept evolving to different things. I was really interested in myself, to learning more about myself. It kind of sounds like
sounds a little narcissistic.
It does, right?
The way you say it, but I get it.
But I wanted to learn more, right?
Yeah.
So everything when you get to 2011, it's like, okay, I was really into meditation at this time. So then Metta came from we looked at about 1,000 names, maybe 500 names.
Who's we? Like
me and my partner.
Oh, okay.
We was just looking at different names from the Hindai culture. And it was all Buddhist names. And then we kind of narrowed it down. We got to Metta, then we didn't have a last name. So initially it was going to be a Buddhist last name. But I didn't want 2 Buddhist names. I didn't want first name and last name. So then World Peace was literally like one of the first things that popped into my head. I'm like, oh, Metta World Peace. This sounds really sounds kind of cool. All right, cool, let's just do it.
Did you legally change it then? For that?
Yeah, legally change it.
You had to, right? Yeah, in order to get it on the jersey and stuff.
Right, in order to get it on the jersey, you had to legally change it.
I guess people can hate Ron Artest, but nobody can be like, I hate World Peace. So you have that going for you.
I wouldn't care either way, honestly, but yeah,
Yeah, it makes it hard. It makes it harder for people to say bad things about you in public if your name is World Peace. And then you change it back from World Peace, and I don't know, is World Peace just too unattainable these days, or what? You just gave up on World Peace?
No, I got married.
Yeah.
And,
you did? Okay, yeah.
I got married, and then my wife's last name is Sandiford, and then we just both took each other's, original last names.
Yeah, that's very 2021 of you to take her last name and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
It was cool. I thought it was great. I kind of didn't want to change from World Peace. But it was okay.
You didn't want to change it from
not initially, but
Was she like, come on, man?
Yeah, basically.
I knew it. I knew she was like, I am not going to be, what's her first name?
Maya.
I'm not going to be Maya World Peace. I'm just not doing it. Yeah. Yeah. She's like, that's fine when you're a basketball player and you're getting media attention. For me, I'm just going to have to explain that to everyone.
Everyone, all the time.
Yeah. That's fine. And then when you have kids, do you have kids with your current?
Not yet.
Not yet. So then their last name would be World. She's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure to be in the airport. World Peace, please report.
Yeah. And then, that's even extra confusing. And then people are like, that can't be the name.
They always say that when I'm on a call at the bank. They say, whose name is on the account? I say, this is Metta World Peace. Who's speaking? Metta World Peace. No, we need to speak to the person who owns the account. Then sometimes they'd be like, I said, we need to speak to the person that owns the account. I say, excuse me, my name is Metta World Peace. This is me. Yeah. Can we move on already?
Yeah. Are you like, dude, Google it, man. I'm a person that you probably would have heard of. But half the time you're talking to somebody who's like, living in another country, and they're like, I don't watch basketball. Just tell me your name, or I'm going to hang up.
It's such a unique name. Sometimes you'll get people saying, is this the Metta World Peace? I'm like, yes, there's only one. You know it's me.
There's only one. Yeah, exactly. We talked about this a little bit on your show, but, for the sake of my audience, you grew up in, would you say if I say it's the projects, is that offensive, or is that what it's called? It's not offensive. Okay. So you grew up in the projects, Queensbridge, rough area. What was that like as a kid? We did touch on this a little bit before when we spoke off air, but I think a lot of people don't understand what that means to grow up like that.
Well, it meant growing up in the projects, it means opportunities to get involved in drugs, to get involved in violence, to get involved. New York City wasn't gangs. It's gangs now in the city, but when we grew up, it wasn't gangs. It was like you had some close friends when you move with that 5 or you move with that 20. Not even 20. You move with like 5 or 7. Real close people. It wasn't no gangs. You know, and then you had opportunities to enter certain cliques if you wanted to. And then you had the opportunity to go to school and learn something that could get you to hopefully go to college.
Yeah.
And we ain't talking about Harvard. We're talking about community college. You know, and then sometimes you might meet someone that might want to sponsor you. Hey, maybe you can stay on track and go to Harvard, go to Temple. But that was very rare. So those are all the opportunities you had. I mean, then you also had opportunities to build a family, but then some of the downfalls was you don't know how to raise a family, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of that stuff happening.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
How do you raise a family under so much pressure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your first kid at 16, right?
I was 16.
And I heard you say you planned that.
Yeah.
So that was on purpose, having a kid at 16.
I always wanted a baby at 13.
That's so early.
Yeah.
Did you not think, oh, this is a little bit early, maybe I can do that?
Because my whole family is like that. One of my sisters have 8 kids. The other one has 4. Another one has 3. My brother has 4. My other brother has 5. Then I have 4. Then my mom has 8.
You should know that one. You grew up with
Yeah,
your mom,
but 2 of them was my cousins. We took them
Got it. Okay,
we took them
got
out of the hospital.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so we took 2 of them home with us.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So we, and then I have one of my nephews have 5 babies. So that's just natural in my family to have babies without thinking about how are you going to raise these babies?
Yeah.
How are you going to support these babies?
That's a lot. Good thing you.
It's really difficult.
Good thing you went into the NBA, because I would imagine there's a lot of people like, so we need to borrow something so he can go to school and stay out of trouble. I mean, did they come to you for that sometimes?
Well, when I first made it, that's what you do. You take care of your family.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what you need? Okay, I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I had such a big family where I had to eventually re-strategize how I help my family.
Yeah, otherwise everybody's going to go broke, even if you do make $50 million.
Yeah, it's not healthy to just give money.
No.
It's never healthy to just give money. As much as you want to give, you always want to give like an experience, or you want to give some education. It goes way further.
Otherwise, people just end up with flat screen TVs at Xbox and maybe some food, and then it's back to calling you on your phone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a big mistake I made, because I was like, hey, all my nieces and nephews get gifts. Everybody, we going to Toys R Us. Everybody, versus, well, I'm gonna get you a math book. I'm gonna send you to private school. I'm gonna get you a tutor.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you're 18. We're gonna get you into a trade school.
Mm-hmm.
Versus nobody gets gifts. No gifts.
Right. Yeah.
No gifts. Just makes progress. I think that would have been better. But I was young. I was 19 when I made it to the NBA.
God, 19. I was so irresponsible at that age. I imagine you probably also were at that age. Right?
I was very irresponsible, but like there was times where I said, okay, I'm going to
have a kid. Yeah, that's true.
And I had a kid, and I had 2 kids. My second kid was at 18. And then my third kid was at 20. No. Yeah, 20.
Unbelievable.
My 4th kid was at 22.
So they're all adults now.
Oh, adults in college. Everybody's in college.
That's crazy to me. I have a 2. We're like the same age, and I have a 2.5-year-old and a baby on the way. Like that's how different that's how staggered our kids are. Like how different our situation in life is right now in terms of having kids.
Yeah.
So you grew up rough, I know, and I have you quoted as saying, I played basketball so I wouldn't fall into selling guns or drugs. I played so I wouldn't go to jail.
Yeah, that was for sure. Because it's easy to make some money. It was a lot of times the people in my neighborhood that was getting in trouble would just like give me money, just so I don't do nothing.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of my friends, and that's why I got a real bond with a lot of people. Because they would give me money to make sure I don't get in trouble.
Oh, they would give you money just to keep you from
doing
like stupid stuff.
Even $1, like give me. So I go buy a 50-cent bag of chips, and I'm happy for a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
We outside all day. There's nothing else to do. We play basketball. We sit outside on the bench, and then you dibble and dabble and get out of trouble. You get in trouble, in different types of trouble.
Yeah. And
then you can keep getting in trouble, or you can go back to the court, and then you go play some football. Then you go to your friend's house. Then it's like, okay, what type of trouble am I going to get into today? You know, what level of trouble am I going to get into, right? Some people stay at the high level of trouble, and you know, I was always right under the mid level, you know, of
What does
trouble.
that mean then?
That means like, you know, maybe a fight. You know, I did flirt with selling drugs a couple times. You know, flirted with robbing. You know, as a couple times.
When we say robbing, is that like breaking into someone's car, house?
No,
or
I never was. Well, you always think about these things. Any options available? What are we going?
Yeah.
When your friends are doing things, I'm going to take this money today. I'm going to rob this guy. And you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that one on the menu, but I'll go steal some food, or I'll go to the store and take something from the store, right? You know, you got all these options, you know?
Oh, man. It seems like it's really easy then to go from taking a bag of chips from the store, and then your friends are like, yo, this guy, he's got a lot of money. Let's break into his car. I know he's got a gun in there. We can sell it.
Yeah,
and then you're like,
sometimes
okay. You know, like you don't think about it. And then suddenly you realize you just robbed a drug dealer and now you're in trouble.
Yeah, I did. The last time I took something, we took food from a store. It was real. I felt really bad. We took food from someone, and I think I was like 13, and we thought we were just gonna take the food and go. So we take the food, and then this person was following us, was pissed.
Sure, yeah.
Right, follow me and my boy, and we were young. They were older. We were taller and bigger, but they were definitely men. So and just followed us back into the neighborhood. We literally had to go upstairs, even though we was home.
Yeah.
You know, and we could, you know, he's not gonna just come out of the neighborhood and do anything. But we were like, oh wow, this dude is following us back to the neighborhood, pissed. You know, just like delivering food.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I said, I'm not doing this anymore. No way.
Yeah,
that would have escalated.
Oh yeah, I mean, if he had caught you before you got home, possibly something.
It would have been a fight.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been bad. You know, then it would have been like, oh, what happened? Well, we took the food. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, then the first time I sold drugs was the last time. Well, I dibbled and dabbled a little bit.
Yeah, I heard that you learned how to cook crack growing up. Is that true?
I learned that at about maybe 12 or 13.
And I mean, that's crazy. You realize that's kind of crazy, right?
When I look back at it, it's crazy. There was times where I remember police would be knocking on the door. You know, my mom got mad at me on Facebook one time because she's like, my boy wasn't selling no crack. But, you know, when you go outside, you know, your parents, they don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
But
do you think she knew and was just being defensive?
No way. I would have got my butt torn.
Okay, so she wasn't like,
no way,
I'm going to turn a blind eye. She was like, I'm going to whip your ass.
No way. Yeah. I would have got my butt torn if she would have found out.
Yeah. Is she still, is your mom still around?
Yeah, she's still around.
Yeah. So do you think does she know about this now?
I mean, I rapped about it. I talk about it.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, when parents listen to your rap, it's like,
my cousins are her nephews. You know, she knows what my family was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, she knows what they were doing.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm with you, man. I don't think my mom would have stood for that. So you started playing basketball on the suggestion of a counselor who saw that you had like an anger management problem in school?
That's not why I was playing basketball.
No? Okay.
I was playing basketball. I started at 8. I got really good and I got better at 9, 9.5, 10, 11, 12. I was playing all the time, so I just kept getting better. But then, you know, I was always had anger problems since young.
Even as a kid?
Yeah, since. You know, I got suspended from preschool.
You got suspended from preschool? How do you even get suspended from preschool?
Kindergarten fighting.
Oh, wow.
Kindergarten, first grade. Every year I was in school, I got suspended for fighting.
Did you get suspended every season of the NBA or not?
Not every. Oh, maybe every season. Maybe every season. Maybe every season in the NBA I got suspended once.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is a theme.
Maybe not the end of my career.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow. That's progress.
Then I go to a Catholic school. I get suspended from Catholic school. I go to 9th grade. I'm in Catholic school now.
They don't stand for that.
I got suspended at Catholic school.
Oh my God.
So I got suspended one time in Catholic school, 9th grade. Then that was it. Then one time in college, but nobody knew about.
Always for fighting.
Everything was for fighting.
Yeah. So where did you learn that fight? Where did you get the idea to fight all the time? Like you must have been angry for a reason, right?
Well, you got to survive, you know, because like people, even though you're bigger, people will try to test you.
Yeah.
So it has to be a point in time where somebody has to know, if you test me, you got a chance to get really hurt. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time I'm fighting, like one guy skipped me in front of a lunch line and I went to work on him.
But that's not normal, right? Like, you know
that's not normal. Yeah, and all they did was skip me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one guy made fun of me. It was never like, I'm just going to go and just, You know,
Yeah, punch a random.
it was always like because somebody did something really small,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I just took it to the next level. But it was just because as growing up as a kid, you just playing tag or you having fun, and then people pick, and then it's like, okay, at what point in time are you gonna stand for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So then in my mind, I said, always stand for yourself. Never let anyone bully you again. Never let anyone pick on you. So it was like I was always like ready to go.
Do you still get enraged if somebody like cuts you off on the highway, or you're good now?
I'm too old to be even thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, but most of my passions and aggressions it goes towards things I love. Like, I want to be successful at something.
Mm-hmm.
So I put all that I've got in me
Mm-hmm.
into something like I want to be successful at.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's like
that
more
makes
of
sense.
it. That's more of it now.
That makes sense, but and pardon me for dwelling on this, right? But a lot
that's
of
okay.
people put in passion, but they don't hit people or beat people up or get in trouble or get suspended or things like that. So I'm wondering, did your parents fight at all growing up? Like, were you seeing a lot of that?
Oh, no, I was just in the streets.
In the streets.
My parents did fight sometimes, but it was a little both. It was a little both. You know, it was a little bit of both. But in the streets, I mean, the streets is different. Like, you know, you are. I mean, you could roll with a clique, or you roll by yourself. It's a different type of person you're gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even though you could choose to ride out with people, but sometimes if you get too deep involved, you ain't.
Right.
So you gotta somehow build your own personal army with just you.
Yeah.
And you gotta be ready to go out for yourself. And that's the type of, you know, I have friends, but I was always like, I'm gonna protect myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds like, I mean, it sounds like something you evolve when you grow up in Queensbridge or a place like that. Like, you don't just go, I'm gonna let that roll off my back, because that might come back to, that's a bad reputation to be the person who doesn't ever fight back. Maybe.
Nah, yeah, you need to be. Yeah, it was times. I remember one time. It was just too many times. But you know, one time, you know, I had an issue where somebody was trying to bully me. I got so mad. I went in my room upstairs. I brought out some scissors, and I was like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna go right in front of in front of the crew. And I was by myself with some scissors. Just sat right there. I'm just ready to go. Cause I'm like, what else am I gonna do?
Uh-huh.
I'm new to this, but now I'm like, I want this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but the
Oh,
thing
wow.
was like, but people, this is the thing about being in our neighborhood. You don't know what somebody's going through. Even though we see you go outside, we see you chilling, laughing, but you don't know what that person's going through. You know, and it seems like we all going through the same things, but we're not. You know what I'm saying? We're not going through this. Today, I'm not having a good day today. You know what I mean? So it's the wrong person to bully today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes,
because it's not even gonna happen. We gonna fight.
so you almost stabbed somebody with scissors.
Well, it didn't get that far.
Right. But it's like,
Yeah, it didn't get
that
that
was
far.
was that the plan, or were you just like,
The plan was to go.
yeah.
The plan was let's rock. Let's get it going.
Do you ever think about how different your life would have been if you had done some of the things that you even just thought about doing as a kid?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, I was very aware too.
Mm-hmm.
So I was aware. I mean, so many times you're in situations, especially where I'm from. So many times, some of the greatest basketball players from my neighborhood was in situations. And I'm talking about NBA players, like pro skill level.
You grew up near Lamar Odom, right?
15, 20 minutes away with no traffic.
Okay.
But like we had a guy named Kenny Ito, played with Lloyd Daniels and Rod Strickland at Oak Hill Academy, where Carmelo went.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You talking about this type of level of talent, he gets shot. You know, he gets shot in the groin, his career over.
That's awful.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Lloyd Newton, Long Island City, he gets stabbed in the heart in a high school game. Dead.
Is he the one who got killed on the court?
Lloyd Newton, yeah.
That's awful.
And everybody should remember his name. He's a great guy.
He got killed with a broken table leg, right? I mean,
yeah. My buddy Lakey is doing a documentary on Queensbridge, and he's going to be in that documentary. You'll learn more about him. It's called Queensbridge Kings. And you'll learn more about Lloyd. We idolized Lloyd. We idolized Lloyd. But this is the type of things that is like, yo, what's happening? This 12-year-old is just like, what the hell is happening? How do you navigate this life?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and then so now it's like, okay, yo, just be ready.
Yeah.
Just be ready to go. You know.
So you took that mindset onto the court, of course, because why wouldn't you? That's how you grew up. And that, I mean, it arguably didn't serve you so well some of the time, right? I mean, you ended up, well, we'll get to this, but you know, one of the things that you are well known for is things like the Malice at the Palace, which is probably not something that you consider one of your finest moments, right? And
it's a moment. I don't really care about it, honestly.
Well, it's been a while. It's been a while. I mean, you're friends with a guy. It's a whole thing now. It's like it's been so long, but there's a lot. There's a lot of. It's interesting to hear that you sort of made peace with that. So you're 22 years old. It said and this is just sort of based on my research, so correct me where it's wrong, because of course nobody has the insight to your bank account, but you're 22 and you get a $42 million contract extension after going from Indiana to Chicago. So you're 22 years old. You're looking at $42 million, but you already had a bunch probably because you're already 3 years into the NBA.
You're making money.
So you say I actually panicked. Why?
It wasn't necessarily panic, because like I just was like, when I signed that big deal, well, big deal for it's a big deal.
That's a big deal for anybody.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It was not in comparison to my talent, no. Like to what type of person that my talent level was, they were getting 10, 12 at that time. You know, but it was a big deal.
That $42 million at age 22
at age 22
is
when you
good
come from nothing.
From literally for anyone.
No, for anyone.
No one in the world is going to go, that's a ripoff, right? I mean, yes, maybe
NBA players will say that's a ripoff.
Really? That's
of course.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you?
Of course. NBA players a ripoff, but you know, now when you think about life, yeah, it was like, you know, this is crazy. Like never in my wildest dreams, you know. And then I was like, wow, I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to do a lot of different things. So, and then meanwhile, I get suspended the first year into the contract.
Oh man.
You know, the first year of the contract, I'm like, good Lord.
So when you get suspended, I take it you just don't get paid.
They don't get paid. They just don't send you the check.
That's the whole point of the suspension. Yeah. Otherwise, nobody would care, right? You just going around. So why did you say I actually panicked? What was that all about then?
I don't know. But I think I did say that. You know, kind of my answers change from time to time. But I think what happened was I was like, God damn, what do you do with this money?
Yeah. That's a little intimidating.
What the hell do you do, man?
What do you do with it? Yeah.
I never really prepared to have $42 million.
No. And
you know, which is 21 after tax. But
that's funny that you just knew that right away. Because you're probably like, wait a minute, I only got half. What happened? Hey man, gonna have a conversation about tax. You had like a nervous breakdown though at age 21. You said you had to pull over to the side of the road. This is maybe before you had signed, but you said I'm trying to escape something. What is that?
Yeah, well, I know what the breakdown was.
Right. Well,
so at that point it was I was 21. I was in the league, and I knew I was approaching contract time. So that was on my mind. Then I also was young and in the streets, you know, trying to figure out what are you going to do? Are you going to be in these streets or are you going to be playing basketball? So that was something that I was juggling with a little bit. And then not really addressing suppressed issues. So then what really happened was the alcohol. Because I think if I wasn't drinking that much alcohol, I think those issues I had would have literally been.
So you were drinking a bunch as
I was
well.
drinking a ton.
Even during the NBA, that seems like a hard thing to do.
No, it's easy because you can. I mean, I'm in shape, and I work hard, and I can go through any amount of pain. So feeling tired is not a thing to me, right?
Being hungover during practice.
Being hungover is not a thing. It was a couple of times where I was totally drunk in practice.
Really?
For sure.
Oh, wow.
Totally drunk.
Your coach must have been like, yo.
Oh, you smell the alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking reaping of alcohol.
Oh, man.
But I'm coming in, I'm sweating it out as I go, and I'm sweating it out. And midway through practice is all out, and I'm I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm here, and we're working, and I'm putting in work. But with that being said, when you talk about the alcohol part, yeah, you can sweat it out, but it's depressant, right? Like alcohol, right? It's a downer. It's a downer, right? So as for alcohol being a downer, you're gonna feel down, right? So the alcohol is not making anything better.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
I'm drinking alcohol every day to say, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about any problems. I'm not worried about no issues. I'm just gonna drink some alcohol, and I feel so good. Let's go out.
Yeah.
But you didn't solve nothing.
Yeah, you're just postponing your problem. But when you're 21, 22, you're not really thinking about that.
You're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
But it's a major problem. Major problem for me.
So after this is going on, or while this is going on, you're drinking, you're trying to balance basketball and drinking. You went to play for the Bulls. You're 22, you're making $42 million or whatever, and you get a part-time job at Circuit City. What is going on there?
When I got drafted to the Bulls, and when I was 19 years old, I got a part-time job at Circuit City.
Okay.
So when I first got drafted, I always wanted to work. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to work. And,
like not play professional sports necessarily, but also have a regular job.
Yeah, just work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was really good that I did it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it because I was like, after practice, I just go into the streets, doing whatever. And it's just like, I got to have something else to do.
Oh, so you were worried you were going to get in trouble?
For sure. I needed something else to do because I was just like, I'll do anything,
So you're playing for the Bulls and you're working at a Circuit City is it like in the city of Chicago?
It was next to our practice facility.
So people had to come in and be like, you kind of look like Ron Artest.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Did that cause a disruption or were you like, nah, I hear that all the time?
No. I said, yeah, I'm fucking Ron. I mean, I'm 19 years old. Yes, it's me. And do you want a TV, man? Like,
yeah, like what do you...
This TV's here. This is a great TV. This is VCR. Like, this is DVDs. You want some DVDs? The DVD section is right here.
Didn't word travel that Ron Artest is also selling TVs at Circuit City?
It did travel.
Yeah.
It for sure travel.
So
for sure.
When you said when I have time I get into trouble, so that explains why you got the job. But when you said that, I had to rewind a few times because another interviewer had asked you why you got a job at Circuit City, and you literally said, and I thought this has to be, you said I wanted the discount.
Oh, the discount too. Yeah.
Realize you're making like $42 million.
No. This is when I was making $1 million, which is $500,000 after tax. Actually a little bit more than $500,000, but this is when I got my first contract.
Right.
So that's when I got my first contract.
But still, like, okay, so you're making $1 million+ a year. Okay, fine, $500,000 after taxes, which is like what a surgeon makes at a hospital. And you're like, but I need the discount.
I mean, the discount is incredible because meanwhile, you got to think about it, I'm taking care of my family.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So I can't just buy anything I want at this point in time. So you don't like when you're 19 and you got this much money. You think this is the most money in the world.
Right.
By the way.
Sure.
It's literally not, right?
Right.
But you think, so for me, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm rich.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why am I worried about something that costs $5,000 if I'm really that rich, right?
Right.
I'm looking at the numbers and the money's leaving the account.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm just like, I need this discount. You know what I'm saying?
Do they not limit how many things you can buy with your discount? I guess they figure you probably also don't make $500,000 a year. Yeah.
I bought DVDs. That's when it was hot.
Yep.
I bought a stereo system for my apartment that I was paying maybe $3,000 a month for, right? I bought a stereo system for my apartment. I bought for my car. I think I bought a stereo system for my car. And I bought that was what I mainly bought.
That's really funny, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you eventually had to leave because I think that the league said, "Hey, man, it's not good for you."
It wasn't the league. It was Jerry Cross was like, "Why are you working at Circuit City?"
Like, I don't want to get arrested. That's so. Did you tell him I don't want to get in trouble?
No, I didn't say anything. I just said I'm not going. I can't go back. But the general manager at Circuit City was incredibly nice. He said, "You really want to work here?" I said, "Yeah, I would like to work here." And he just, gave me the papers and hired me. I'm
sure he thought that you were messing with him at some point.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he kind of at first, but great guy. Gave me the papers and
wow.
Great guy, right?
I'm surprised. Hey, if you had still been there, maybe they wouldn't have gone out of business with all the money you were throwing back into the company. R.I.P. Circuit City, man.
I know.
That's got to be a first for an NBA player to have a part-time job doing retail sales.
But some people still go to college.
Right? That's true, but
it's different.
That's different than being like, I want to sell Britney Spears CDs.
Some people should.
Yeah, well, I think you're probably right.
If you like a G League player making $35,000.
Yeah.
Then
you got
maybe you should get work at Circuit City.
Did you think maybe the NBA would go away and it was good that you had a job? Was there any sort of like, this is my backup plan?
I always wanted. Well, like I said, I was always in between streets, education, and ball.
Yeah.
So when I was 13, I said I wanted to be a junior high school math teacher. That was my goal, to make $35,000. I knew $35,000 be enough to eat some food, and I'll be a math teacher, and perfect. I don't need to be in the streets.
No guns, no drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. So that's when I started taking math real serious. Then when I became better at basketball, I was like, oh well, I got a chance to go pro. But then when I was first going to college, my major was architecture. I went to Notre Dame, St. John's, Miami of Ohio, Miami University, and Providence. Those are the 5 schools.
Those are good schools. And architecture is a really, really tough major for people who don't know.
It's really tough.
Really, it's almost like trying to become a doctor or something like that, or a lawyer.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
So Miami had a great architect program. Notre Dame had a great architect program, and they were ready to support what I wanted. I said, listen, I'm not a great student, but I'm going to put in work. But then the other school, St. John's, didn't have a great program. Providence didn't have a great program, and then Miami of Ohio didn't have a great program
for architecture.
Mm-hmm. So then I picked Miami to go to Miami. But then the day when I was picking, I had a change of heart. I went to St. John's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then I went to St. John's.
I mean, you had to choose basketball over architecture if you got a chance to go pro in the NBA. There's no architect that makes as much as you.
But they actually put me in the engineering school. They put me in the engineering school my first semester. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to engineering school.
Wow.
But practice was at 5:45 a.m. So it was really hard to do that. So I just dropped it.
Oh man, that's a lot of work, man. I mean, as you know, look, you say that you got the part-time job because if you have time, you get in trouble. But then I read, look, he's drinking Hennessy cognac in the locker room at halftime while with the Bulls during games.
I did that like maybe twice.
Okay, because that tells me you don't need a lot of time to get into trouble. Like you're in there at halftime, like.
Like twice. It was one time I was just like, whatever with this NBA stuff, you know, like just like, you know what? I think it was, I think for me, I never had a chance to pause and just like reflect and really just assess, you know, the problems I thought was huge problems, which was very small problems.
Yeah.
When I look back at it.
That's interesting. So little problems kind of sounds like they overwhelmed you a little bit.
Yeah.
At that age.
They did. I just didn't want no issues. You know, I wanted clean. I wanted easy. I wanted the easy way. You know, and then when any little thing happens, I just couldn't really just get over it, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I just drink.
You had some antics that made the news, right? Not just the fighting and stuff, but in February 2004, you wore a bathrobe over your practice uniform to a Pacers practice as a symbolic reminder to take it easy, which honestly, that idea has legs. I'm going to start podcasting in a bathrobe. But like some of these antics, going out to Jimmy Kimmel in your boxer shorts, like what's going on here? Was that for attention?
Life.
What do you mean that's life? There's a lot of people that go on TV that are fully clothed.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying at all.
Go in your boxers. Who cares?
Okay, that's the thing. Well, first of all, thanks for wearing pants to this interview.
I don't do it. I mean, like, I just feel like, hey, who cares? Like, Jimmy's great, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you put on your boxers, you go on TV, people would take model pictures on billboards in their, their boxers. But it's just like, it's the scenery. It's the scene, right? It's the scene that you... With my robe, I was just like, I didn't feel like wearing a suit that day. You know, I didn't want to wear a suit. I want to be in my robe, so I just wore my robe. I was in bed, we're going to a meeting. This is my mind now. It's not the right way to approach it.
Sure.
I'm not saying I approach it the right way, but I'm saying in my mind, I'm just like, I don't need a suit to tell people that we're going to win a title. Like, this is it. We're going to win a title, and I see you guys later.
I mean, you can understand why people might go, is he okay? Right? Like, there was probably a lot
Everybody was in a suit, I was in a robe.
Yeah, yeah. Or like you show up on Jimmy Kimmel in your boxers, which, by the way, people loved, and it was a funny clip. But it was almost like, does he know that this is funny?
I was in really great shape also.
You were in good shape.
So that was one of the other things.
You probably got
such good shape.
Probably a lot of women were like, oh, let me pay attention to this guy. Was that part of it?
That wasn't part of it.
No?
But I didn't work out for women. I worked out for me.
Good for you, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I work out for me. And when you are in your prime, it's like, oh my goodness, do y'all see this world?
Yeah. Well, look, man, you got the most out of life when it came to the media, I think. Hey, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, check out the Jordan Harbinger Show podcast feed. There's a lot more just like this. You can find the Jordan Harbinger Show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, back to the show. Your life for a while, not for always, but for a while, was based on some of your worst moments, or one of your worst moments, especially Malice at the Palace, which happened in front of millions of people. You know, for people who don't know, there was like all this craziness going on. You ended up going into the stands and hitting a fan who you hit the wrong guy, but the guy who you didn't hit.
It wasn't the wrong guy. It was actually the right guy.
It was the right guy? Oh, okay. The story is that it was a wrong guy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stories out there.
There's a bunch. It's hard to get it straight.
Well, the guy who I hit, he bet John $50.
Oh, you got that guy. All right, so they were both a-holes. Yeah. But, like, you know, that made international news. Millions of people saw it. And not one, I think we can agree, not one of your finest moments, right? And you elbowed James Harden in the head in a separate incident. He got a concussion. There's just a lot of, like, by the way, if any of my questions get on your nerves, just know that getting punched in the face live on a show might be the big break I need. But like what I'm getting at here is what's going on in your head during those days? You know, you mentioned that you had trouble sort of like dealing with anger. Obviously that's the case, but what goes through your head? Is it just blank at that point?
Not really. I mean, the brawl was that was simple. Somebody hit me.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, a simple solution to a problem. Like if someone throws something at you, you just don't let somebody throw something at you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was painted as he was stressed and he was depressed. It's still painted as that, but when you look at it frame by frame,
mm-hmm.
You can never paint someone in a light where if someone hits them, then they hit someone back, that the person that hit the person back is under mental pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's called self-defense if it happens right here.
Yeah. It's called self-defense everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in such a big profession, a big industry, you know, in sports profession, big industry. So from that perspective, you know, it's not right here, right?
Right. Well,
you know
also, if the person's trying to get away or they're no longer a threat, you're not supposed to go after them. That's sort of the exception to that. But why were you so unable to process that kind of anger? I mean, you were laying on the scoring table to try and process the anger.
It happened
That's
quick.
The story. It did happen quick.
I got hit and then I reacted. It wasn't processing nothing. It was just
like a gut reaction.
I mean, if someone get punched, I don't think somebody got punched in their face, I don't think they take 5 minutes to think about it.
Generally not, but a lot of people would run away.
Never.
Like I would run away.
Yeah, I mean, that's you, right? You know,
well, I'm a wimp.
If I got punched in my face, I'm not going to sit there and just be like, okay, I just got punched in my face. What should I do? Oh, by the way, I got to go to the store and pick up groceries. And then do I attack? Oh, I got to make a phone call. No, it's like, I just got punched in my face. Who the hell did it? That's it. That's life. That's like human nature. And
you had gotten hit with what, a Diet Coke?
No, it was a beer.
A beer, okay. Yeah, that's right. It was a beer. And yeah, no, I saw the video. I mean, we'll post the video in the show notes. People who are in that situation would be really pissed.
Yeah, so that's like not like that's just a moment. That just has life.
Were you that way off the court as well?
Off the court, is like my life is kind of different from on the court.
But did you get in fights off the court as well at that time?
I've never gotten in a fight off the court in the NBA. But I was playing
I mean, like let's say that game ends, you go to a bar, someone steps on you.
I've never gotten into a fight
no?
while I was playing in the NBA off the court.
Really? Okay, so this was mostly only during the games that we saw this sort of aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
Huh. I've heard you say you were intimidated.
Yeah, I've never gotten in a fight off the court in the NBA.
No. Okay, interesting.
I haven't gotten in a fight since high school. Not even high school, like a real. Besides, like, you know, on the court.
Yeah.
You know, really aggressive, but I haven't gotten into a fight off the court like at all.
I've heard you say you were intimidated by some of the other players. Like I can't remember who it was. Maybe like, you know what? I'm drawing a blank. You were intimidated by some of the other star players, so you had to be kind of mean and overly aggressive.
No, it wasn't that. It was I used to play against some intimidating players before the NBA.
Sure. Okay.
You know, and then when I was going to the NBA, I'm like, these guys big. You know, so I'm like, in my mind, in order to survive, you got to be ready to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I know, and if you watch the 80s and 90s and the 70s, guys was fighting. You know, it wasn't, you know, and I grew up under the Knick era. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when I got there, I'm like, I'll be ready. I'll be ready for this type of basketball.
You said, I wish I was Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, but I'm not. I have a lot of emotions going through me. I think you were probably talking about emotional management, not necessarily basketball skills.
Basketball skills.
Oh, you were talking about basketball
My goals were to be the best. My goals was never to be like, you know, second.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people goals are to be the best and they actually become the best. Some people goals are to be the best and they don't become the best. My goals was to be the best.
Well, I mean, that's a champion attitude.
That's it, yeah. And still to this day, I'm it's hard for me to come down from that type of mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the exception of, I'm okay with not being the best because I did my career. The stats are what it is, and I'm okay with that. But then I still know when I was a kid, I you know, at one point in time, I wanted to be the best, right? So that I still have that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in me.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
the sort of like overachiever or competitive anyway. attitude.
Competitive, yeah.
Do you have that with like podcasting now that you have your
No,
own
I
show?
don't have that with podcasts. The podcasting is fun. Like, I'm not trying to be the number one podcast.
Okay, good.
I
I'm just
wanna-
checking. I'm just checking.
Yeah, I just want to have. I just like to talk.
Yeah.
I just love to talk about interesting things. Like, I'm totally.
Well, you're in a good industry for that. So you get a sports doctor to help you relax, and I'm wondering if you think. Do you think that if you had better emotional management back then, you could have achieved more as a player?
I think honestly, oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
achieved a ton as a player.
You did, yeah.
I would have achieved, I would have doubled that up.
Yeah,
For sure, doubled it up.
so instead of just staying out of trouble, you could have gone beyond what you had gone, beyond what you've done.
I mean, when you talk about the numbers of the awards, I have about, so a Defensive Player of the Year, and I love talking about these because I'm so grateful, by the way, of these accolades, but Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star, First Team All-Defense, Second Team, Third Team All-NBA, Champion, and I think that's it. So then, now you take away the Brawl year,
Mm-hmm.
that was going to be another All-Star, you know, another All-Team All-Defense, another All-Team NBA, that's 11, another potentially Defensive Player of the Year award. So that's 12. And then you go to the next year. Now, the next year I got suspended from the Pacers now.
Mhm.
Okay, keep that in mind. So then I was detrimental to the team. So then that's another, so that's 12. That's another All-Star. That's 13. That's another All-Defensive team. That's maybe an All-Defensive Player of the Year, maybe. Right?
Oh yeah.
That's 15. And then I was traded, and then I was kind of floating on other teams. But let's just say I stayed in Indiana.
Mhm.
So that's at least 2 more All-Stars, at least 1 more All-NBA team, right? So that's about, you know, you're talking about another 12 awards. That's not counting if, you know, that's not counting like 2009, 2010 when I was in my prime.
Sure.
So who knows? So you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm potentially only at a third
Oh really?
of
So
the amount of
it's interesting. So in
awards.
your head, you have like a path where you didn't make all those sort of mistakes, and another path where.
For sure, and I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
I'm in my career, I'm so happy with shoulda, woulda, coulda, because this is a real shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Mhm.
And let me tell you something. I feel really good about it. I feel really good. I'm really happy that I have what I have, and I'm really happy just always thinking about I could have had another award. I finished 6th in MVP voting the year before I got suspended.
Mhm.
That could have been an MVP. I always wanted to get MVP, and I didn't get it. But you want to know something? I'm okay with that.
Well, you have no other choice but to be okay. Well, I guess
Some
you
people
could be
might not
bitter
really-
about it. I guess you could be bitter.
Well,
about it.
no, well, I did get rid of all my awards, by the way.
I know that you got rid of all that, and you even sold one of your rings, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a bit. But I'm wondering.
So I'm not good with it, but I am.
Well, you did get the sports doctor to sort of help you handle stress differently, or help handle
Sports therapy.
sports therapy to handle the anger differently. Do you think a lot of players need the help that you sought and the help you got, but maybe they were afraid to ask for it?
I mean, it was some play. If you look at the history of sports,
Yeah.
let's say NBA.
Yeah.
Look at the history of the NBA players, and there's some documented problems.
Yeah.
So with those documented problems, I think, you know, I wonder if a sports therapy could have really helped.
Yeah.
And I wonder if these players actually search sports therapy. I love sports therapy.
A lot of the people that I interview on the show will say things like, man, if they knew how to handle, I interviewed a famous mobster, and he said, if they knew how to handle learning disabilities when I was a kid, I would never have joined the mob. And he's a mob hitman. And, you know, you're saying, hey, this is what I probably would have done if I had been able to control my anger more. It's just interesting to see mental health become a focus of people as they get older, especially people who have achieved a lot.
But mental health is a hot topic, and it's a very lucrative industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the non-lucrative industry, and the most important part of mental health is at the foundation, and at the foundation is the family, right? So the stronger the family, the less likely someone is going to grow up with mental health issues. Because you always have your dad and your mom to always go back to and get that real advice.
Yeah.
Right? Get that real love, that real advice that came from your mom and came from your dad. And not everybody have that. So with that being said, then you have things that pile up, which turns into depression, it turns into anxiety. Then it's so much, it turns into an illness. It turns, not even an illness, before the illness, it turns into, you might need some medication to suppress. Then from suppression, you either born with a chemical imbalance or you're going to develop a mental illness because there's just so much going on in your brain. You know, so I think at the foundation is the most important piece that I like to kind of talk about.
Everyone talks about how nice you are now, which is kind of a plot twist, isn't it? From back in the day. You felt like you had to hate your opponent to play ball. Everyone from the fans to the cameraman to other players. I've heard you say something along those lines.
For sure.
That's more like a boxing mentality, though, eh?
Yeah. When I went into the arena, I normally did not like anyone. But it's just crazy because like I was so competitive. I don't even know if I was competitive at that. I think I was just so over the top, crazy competitive.
Yeah, it was
like
two
types of competitive.
Irrational levels of
for sure.
Because like Kobe's competitive, but you don't see
right. He's not as irrational.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I was very irrational. I'm gonna look that up and make it in context, but I've never put it like that. But it was unnecessary competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm in practice and I'm just so hungry. I see the 11th player on the bench, the 13th player trying to make the roster. I just want to demolish them. You know, I don't want to give them a shot. I'm in there taking the ball from these kids that's trying to make the team. Because my thing was work harder than every single person that touched this floor. You know, and why? Because I was in survival mode. Like, you know, and then when I get into the game, it's the same thing you saw in the game, the same thing you saw in practice. I be in practice. One time I was in practice with Rick Carlisle. He said, Ron, slow down. Slow down. Today we're only going 20%. 20, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. And I'm like, all right, next drill, go. Boom, 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 me. Fast, everything, hustle, rebound, box out, attack. Like in practice, he said, I told you to slow down.
You must have been.
I told you to slow down, stop. And I was just like,
oh my God.
I need to give 100% today.
Do you think you were insecure? Is that why you did that?
I probably was insecure. Oh, for sure. I think so. And I don't know if that's why, but yeah, everything adds up, right?
Yeah.
I just thought that if I don't work hard, then I feel like it's over. That's what I felt like, man. I felt like if I don't go hard, it was something I couldn't get over. Yeah, it was just really weird. I felt very, what would you call it? Not even unprepared, scared, sort of. Like if I didn't give 100% today, you know? And then when I would lose, I don't know. I think I was scared of losing. Yeah.
Because did you feel like it meant something about you if you lost?
Yeah, when I lost, I couldn't handle it, as you can see. So most of my issues, if you do the math, came after a loss.
Yeah, you've said that you're a sore loser, and that you're right. A lot of the big sort of negative events were from a loss.
Like with the exception of the brawl, which I didn't start, we were winning, so I was okay. But when you look at the Nick incident in the Garden, when I broke the camera, that was after a loss. You know, when you look at one time we lost against the Pacers, I mean, when I was in Indiana, I just threw over a bunch of stuff, broke pitchers in the locker room after a loss. In Chicago, broke pitchers, you know, throwing off the wall. Like, I don't know, maybe Michael Jordan's pitchers, take it off the wall. You know, we get into the plane, we lose against Dallas. I take the food and throw all the food on the floor, everybody's food. Throw it on the floor, right?
Man.
Yeah, like, you know, that's how it was. And when I would lose, even in practice, I would get so mad, you know? And I thought like this was healthy, but then it's like, okay, practice is over. So imagine this. I'm so pissed off after losses. Practice is over. And I just can't get over it.
Oh man.
So I'm thinking about this for tomorrow's practice. All day.
Yeah, it's no way to live though, right?
It's no way to live.
It's no way to live. Although it's funny.
But it's fun.
It's funny to think back on it probably. Although people were probably pissed you threw all the food on the floor. They're all hungry after the game and they're like, we lose and now I can't even eat.
I did that once, maybe once or twice. And then when I spoke to my therapist, we spoke about stop wanting to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be okay with second place. I needed balance. You know what I'm saying? So after a point in my career, I took away all that stuff that made me great. I had to tone it down. So some games we would lose, I had to go home happy.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go home happy.
That's tough.
Very tough.
It's easier to win.
Very tough. Very tough.
So you win the 2010 championship.
Yeah.
You think, and it's, you know, the confetti's coming down. You're wearing the hat with this jersey, you know, still sweating. They put the hat on you or whatever. You hold up the t-shirt. You thank your shrink who said, thanks to my doctor who helped me relax, something along those lines.
Sure.
Not a lot of people shout out their shrink during the presser after a championship.
Incredible.
But it does take strength to sort of wear the most vulnerable part or even the most damaged part of yourself on your sleeve. So I'll give you props for that. I think a lot of people were like, wow, you know.
A lot of people said you're crazy. I'm like, the last thing on my mind was worrying about what people were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all got to be out your mind if y'all going to think, y'all going to think I'm going to feel insecure about this moment.
Yeah.
This lady was incredible.
Yeah, it's also like you're kind of past that, right? Like, I don't think it's a secret that you had to, I think most people give you credit for getting treatment at that point.
It was incredible. It was just incredible. You know what's incredible about it? So I got a ton of heart. I work hard. So I work hard enough where I'm prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes in big moments, I was worried about too much. Like I was worried about the winning. You know, I'm worried about winning. I'm not present. If you're in the moment, you're not thinking about winning. You're thinking about what you're going to do right now.
Okay.
That's going to get you to win.
I see. So
I was never present.
You were never present. I see.
Yeah,
so you were thinking about the win or the loss, and it was taking you out of the game.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. You know, and then for the last 2 years, working with her, if you look at my series against the Lakers, before I got to the Lakers, everything was going in the way. I was shooting the ball, averaging 22 or 25, something like that, playing so well. And look, when I got to the Lakers, I wasn't worried about that. Even when I hit that big shot, I wasn't celebrating, but it was like all these tools that she gave me.
Were you ever afraid during your career that like therapy, medication might hurt your game? Because do you think it maybe gave you an edge to be that angry?
I never took medication during my career.
Okay.
And even when I thanked my psychiatrist on national TV, she was a psychologist. She texted me after. And she said, great job, thank you. But did you know that I'm not a psychiatrist? I said, oh, I thought you was a psychiatrist. I thought you was my psychiatrist. She said, no, I'm your psychologist. Oh, okay.
Like, what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, what's the difference? At that point in time, I've never ever thought about what's the difference.
Yeah, most people don't even know that there is a difference.
But I thought it was a great statement because it showed people, I thought it might have been even a bigger statement.
I mean, I think...
You know, it's kind of hard to...
Did she ever recommend, I mean, she can't prescribe medication, but did anybody ever give you medication?
No.
Or recommend medication?
No, early in my career, yeah, but then when I started to get diagnosed, it was, you know, I was diagnosed a ton, and I didn't take medication.
What did they diagnose you with?
Anger management, depression.
Well, there's a...
Depression.
Depression, okay.
Yeah, like, well, actually it wasn't. It was for sure depression and anxiety, for sure. But it wasn't like, but that was pretty much it. So then I started to do a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah. Well, you are a man of contradictions, right? You're crazy aggressive and fighting on the court. Then you changed your last name to World Peace. You had to give up a pet dog because of various neglect.
I was sick about that.
And then you end up in a PETA ad representing like the love and care
so
of
the
animals.
pet dog was crazy. So I bought and actually I like PETA. I don't have no issues with PETA.
Well, yeah, you were in the commercial with PETA.
But what happened was so I bought in Indiana. I bought it was about I spent about $125,000 on basically a barn for my dogs, right? So I built this barn for my dog.
Like a giant doghouse.
Giant doghouse, right? And I had gates around my property. So when I told the guy to build the gates, I said, hey, I want to let my dogs out. So I need you to build these gates in the grass. And I paid for it, right? So then he builds it. And I'm like, why is my neighbors are saying, your dog is coming out. Your dog's coming out. Then one of my dogs got hit by a tractor trailer.
Oh, no. That's
my little puppy got ran over by a tractor trailer. Then my other puppy got hit by a tractor trailer, right? This is what's happening. And I called the guy. I said, you got to fix this, man. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like my dogs are dying out on the street. And I got this big property. I had 20. I was saved the dogs from the Humane Society, and I get really passionate about it. I don't have dogs anymore because I lost too many dogs. You know, I lost maybe 3 or 4 dogs. I had 20 dogs. Right?
20 dogs.
20 dogs.
Most people in the NBA collect cars and stuff. You're collecting dogs.
I would save them from the Humane Society before they get put down. So I would just take them in when I can, and but that was like and then this group, dog killer, dog killer, dog killer, and I'm just like, so when it happened, I was in court. They show up in court, and in my mind, I wanted to say, you get the fuck out of here. I wanted to curse these people out so bad.
You're like, I'm saving dogs, not killing dogs.
I didn't even care about saving dogs. I'm just like, I just wanted to curse them out. Because I'm like, please get away from me right now.
Oh, so you were they were getting on your last nerve.
They were on my last nerve.
Yeah.
So then I moved to Sacramento. And what's crazy was that was in Indiana when that happened. I moved to Sacramento. I bring my dogs with me once again. I build a kennel.
Mm-hmm.
I say, I'm spending money. Please do this the right way. I don't want my dogs to get out.
Yeah.
Then I had a big Great Dane. I'm on the road. I get a call from my neighbor. Your Great Dane just got hit by a tractor trailer.
Oh my God.
Right? Every bone is damn near broke. Are you kidding me?
That's terrible.
Oh my goodness. It was the worst part. It was the worst time of my life. It was so bad. And at that point I said, I'm not doing no more dogs. I'm not getting no more dogs. It was terrible. I'm like, guys, build the damn fence the right way. Like, what are you?
That's crazy to me.
It was really tough. So I don't have no more dogs. I'm so like traumatized from my experience. So I gave all my dogs back to different people, the Humane Society. And that's kind of the story with the dogs. I had to eat that. I had to eat that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's really sad.
Really sad. Really, really sad.
Tell me about your focus on mental health and what you're doing here. What do you hope to achieve? Why is it so important to you?
Mental health is very important. Mm-hmm. Well, to me personally, before I came out, and then everyone was like, "You did something really great." That was not the plan. Did not know that was going to happen. But for me personally, it's important because, like, one, I can pay for therapy, right? Marriage counseling, parenting class. I was doing all type of therapy, but some people can't afford that, right? So how can you empower people to be able to afford mental health services? So that's like something that's really important to me. Then two, at the foundation, when you look at somebody like me, other people, other athletes, or anybody just in general, right? A lot of business people be going through it.
Yeah.
A lot of business people go through it. So when you look at that, it's like, how did you grow up? Right? So the foundation, I was like, the foundation is the most important piece. So now what we did was change the mission statement from Artest University, my 501c3, what focuses on mental health. We changed it to teaching the importance on parenting and partnerships to little kids. Because the kids is learning how to treat women with disrespect. They're learning how to treat women like hoes and bees, right? Well, if you treat women like hoes and bees and you make a baby with that person, you got this picture in your mind that to disrespect them, well, what are you going to do when you have a baby and you marry them, right?
Right.
And then what is that baby going to do when you're going through this arguments and the baby's just sitting there watching?
Right. So you're trying to focus on the family.
I'm trying to focus on the family. I think that's the most important piece. And it's still mental health because if you empower the family early, or if you can give them some tools to get through adversity, like what about when that point comes where it's either stick it out or get divorced? These parents that have been together 35 years, I'm sure they had these moments.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had these moments, where it was divorce time, they stuck it out. And 40 years together and it looks beautiful. I'm sure they had the issues. How do you get to that point? Like, what's the reference point? How do you make it that far? And then all their children that get married, they've been together 20 years. Other kids, 15 years.
Right. So you're saying
that's beautiful.
It creates a good pattern for the rest of the family. Yeah. And it sounds like you didn't grow up necessarily with that.
I did initially. So my parents were together. We went to church every Sunday. I grew up like that. But then they separated at 13. But then before that time, it was like different things they were going through as a parent. And I don't like to tell the story all the time, but I think it's important that people know because they were going through things and we see this stuff.
Yeah, I know your dad was kind of a hard guy to live with, to say the least.
Both.
Both parents were.
No, I mean, he was great and then it was hard.
Well, yeah, of course it's mixed, but yeah, he was a boxer and kind of like he's a little bit rough on you when you were young as well.
It was great. But the roughness on me was like, he just maybe knew I can deal with it. It was incredible. But, from that perspective, I think, the family, like, you got to understand that the kids is watching.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Kid is always watching.
That's why I took parenting class. I'm like, I'm like, listen.
You took a parenting class?
For sure. When I was in 2007, I was doing 3 therapy sessions back to back: anger management, marriage counseling, parenting class.
Good for you. Good for you.
I was trying to figure it out.
You're attacking the problem.
Trying to figure it out.
So you donated a bunch of your NBA salary from the 2011-2012 season toward mental health awareness charities. You auctioned off your championship ring, donated the proceeds to various mental health charities nationwide. That's a real commitment. That's not like going on a PSA commercial and being like, mental health, hashtag whatever.
Yeah, I feel like, like I said, I'm a passionate guy, right? So
yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, we're going to do a 501c3.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to raise so much money for people. That was in my mind.
Yeah.
But when I realized it was so difficult, I thought it was going to be easy. Like, y'all see, I'm really passionate about this.
Yeah.
You see people need help.
Everybody
like,
give me $1 million.
Everybody give me $1 million.
Give me that ring.
It's not that easy, but
right.
That was more like, all right, let's start. Let's just do it. Okay, we got a ring. We did this. All right, cool. Let's raffle the ring off. Let's start. Let's get this process started. Let's not wait anymore. And that was what it was.
Do you ever watch older videos of any interviews of yourself or anything like that and just kind of wonder what's going on? I'm asking because there's clips on YouTube of a reporter asking if she should call you Ron or Metta, and you said, and I'm paraphrasing, wasn't Jesus really smart for designing humans so they lose their baby teeth when they're children instead of adults because adults would look really weird with baby teeth? Like, do you ever watch that and go, what the hell was I thinking?
That was funny.
It was funny, but also people were kind of like, are you okay, man?
Yeah, so at that point in time, I was doing stand-up comedy.
Okay.
I really love comedy. I'm not in that mode anymore.
Okay.
But so when I was doing all these sound bites on television, it was to really get the attention of people.
Okay. That's what I wondered.
So I used the media. I used the NBA media to often get attention because I always wanted to be an entertainer. The problem was I was getting in trouble, so I was on TV for things I didn't want to be on TV for.
Right.
I want to be on TV for even doing music or making somebody laugh, making a joke, maybe coming on with a funny hat, stuff like that. So I used often like that type of stuff. I actually went on comedy tour.
Ah, interesting.
I actually went on improv. They signed me to a contract.
I did see a little bit of that.
I did stand up. It's comedy, right? It's like,
right.
Let's say it.
Okay, that makes more sense because if you don't know that and you see these videos, you kind of think, am I watching this guy have like a breakdown right now? Or is this the beginning of like a mental health crisis? Because that's not like normal reply to that question.
And it got picked up so much.
It did, yeah.
It got like millions of views at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people were laughing. A lot of people in LA, a small group of people knew I was doing comedy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So then people started booking me, for these shows, and I stopped doing it because comedy's hard.
Comedy is hard. It's almost
hard.
Like it's a skill, yeah.
It's really hard, man. I was like,
very
no
difficult.
more.
Yeah, it's a different set of skills. It might look easy when somebody's just up there performing, but that's
I really love it, but it's really hard.
Yeah, like anything.
Yeah.
Like anything. You learned a lot from Kobe Bryant about how to manage yourself on the court, basketball skills, but also you mentioned that you were almost mentored by him with business skills and things for retirement. How do you know who to trust in your life when it comes to business, money, and things like that? Because a lot of people want to take advantage of guys in your position.
Well, I think I would say some people might, and some people would like to see you, genuinely see you be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about it from an athlete perspective.
Yeah.
I think the more educated you are early, the better decisions you can make.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I wasn't really focused on like economics, honestly, early in my career. So I had great agents. So sometimes you can get a great agent and they could just advise you. I had great agents, great managers, which I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, but you got lucky. Not everybody does. No, some people get robbed blind, right?
Some people do it, but then also the flip side, having a good agent and a good manager, it doesn't always align with your career.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you had this experience, but you want to do something and then somebody else says, no, let's do this.
Right.
For your business career, for your creative, your entrepreneurial spirit.
They probably tried to keep you away from doing comedy, right?
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, it's hard. They probably wanted you to focus, I would imagine, on the things that were paying the bills.
But I was really intrigued with, like how athletes, I was an athlete, like how do you really take control over your stuff? So like right when I was retiring, I was going for my Series 7.
You went for your Series 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I retired, I was going to do 1 of 4 things because I said, whatever you're going to do, I'm going to do it full time because I'm all in.
Yeah, there's that passion.
I'm all in. So I was going to either rap full time and really learn how to do it. I was going to get my Series 7, which I studied for, coach, NBA coach, which I did some stuff there, or did digital marketing.
Digital marketing.
I went back to college for. I went back
Wow.
to UCLA, and I did everything. And I said, what do I have the endurance for? You know, like what keeps me happy? And when I was at UCLA at school, I was up late studying. I really loved it. I really got into it.
So what are you doing now? What pays the bills, or is it just your investments from your NBA cash?
It's a couple things. You know, so I've worked with digital marketing companies, digital agencies. We built some brands together. You know, this is one of our brands, Buttercloth. We started.
Yeah, it looks nice.
We got with this company when it was early stages. You know, now this company is doing $10 million in revenue this year, like really growing. I got a couple other companies in digital from the digital marketing world that I'm working with. I got percentage in. Then I have a business management company that, you know, it's not a big company, but we got some boxes that couple boxes that we do taxes. I don't necessarily do that part. I started the company. I invested in the company. But it's pretty cool. I like it. You know, it keeps me around sports. We got some basketball players. We got some, we had a baseball player. We don't have them anymore. It's really cool, you know.
Yeah.
And now that company's spinning out an agency, you know, and, you know, I'm just kind of advising them. And I got equity in the company. I really like it. And I've been learning a lot from these young players.
It sounds like you still are interested in learning and growing and moving forward. Like you're not just retired and watching Netflix and going on trips.
No. No, not at all. I mean, I'm just grateful. I'm just really grateful for the NBA and basketball. Because I don't know if I could have been doing like what I'm doing now, you know, if it wasn't for the NBA and basketball.
Yeah, I think probably you're probably right. Yeah. Do you think the NBA is too soft now?
It's back. That's what I would say. So I got in the league in 99. That was the 90s era. It was unbelievably aggressive. 2000 through 2005, still aggressive, but the NBA was cracking down on certain things. 2005, 2010, you know, it was still aggressive, but not like the 90s. Ejections, suspensions for anything fighting. Then from like 2013 to 2016, 17, soft. Not the players, the rules.
Oh, the rules. Okay.
The rules, not the players.
Yeah.
The rules are soft. And then from about 17, 18 to now, it's back. It's very physical.
It's back.
I love it.
Do you think someone like Steph Curry would have been as much of a star in your era?
I think he would have been a star in any era. I don't think he would have been hitting 8 threes because you can hold, but he would have been a superstar. He just wouldn't have been hitting as many threes because you can't in the 80s and 90s you can't risk missing some shots because it's not that many possessions.
Got it. But Ron, thank you. Oh, sorry, Metta. Thank you so much, man. This has been a really interesting interview. And, you know, it's hard to know what to expect from a guy. You keep people guessing. I'll give you that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.